right, so the steering rack, I've been doing a little bit of tinkering with this, and when it's in the car, my firewall is back about maybe 3-4 inches. So when my rack and my tie rod, it sits on an angle, probably like this, more or less, give or take. So when this goes in and out, you actually lose a lot of travel because this is on an angle. So my idea is to straighten this as straight as I can, but I do want more turning. Because I mean, just to back it in this spot right here, I had to do like a 6-point turn, and like I should be able just to make this turn in one go. And that's kind of a problem for me. So that's why I'm kind of doing this. And I'm like redoing the axle at the moment too. So I figured why I have it up in front, all taken apart, I might as well just knock them both out at the same time. So there's my subframe and there's my my transmission. I probably could move it forward maybe 2 inches on the spacer. I'm actually just gonna bump out the steering rack a couple inches, or as far as I can until it hits the diff, which is pretty close. But I'm getting like 2 inches. All right, this is so what I ended up doing. I made this other flat stock bracket with these 2 bolt holes here and 2 bolt holes on the other side. This is gonna be my new bracket. And I'm just gonna weld arms that go from here to the new steering rack, or to my old steering rack. I just brought it down just to bare metal so I can weld it up. But yeah, I'm basically gonna push it out 2 inches. These pieces are 2.5 in length. I'm going like right out to the middle. So it's pushing it forward a bit, and I think this is going to be a lot more sturdy than the way I had it before. I mean, I only got a couple tacks, and this thing's already pretty sturdy. And it won't move side to side, which is nice. It's nice to actually have this whole piece of metal connected at both ends rather than just the 2 U-joints, relying on just the 2 U-joints themselves. So, should help make it a little bit stiffer. That's the clearance I'm dealing with. So you just butt up right against the hole here. So I'm moving it forward that much more, which is good. Because now I'm in line, almost in line, perfectly in line with my, where they connect here. And I'll just have to cut that hole bigger, which sucks, and then redo the column again, which sucks. Alright, the rack is mounted up. It's looking pretty good. Just bolts in these 4 holes. I got captive nuts welded on the inside of the car. So I can just do it it's a 1-person job now, which is nice. The old U-bolts, you'd have to fucking slide them over, try and prop this up somehow, go inside the car and tighten the bolts. But now I can just do it all from down here, which is nice. So yeah, this is all nice and tightened up. It's not going anywhere. All right, I guess next, I gotta cut this hole bigger and then connect to my U-joint. Minimal clearance, should be all right. If it does hit or ding, I'll just grind some more away with the transmission. There's plenty of meat here before the case splits, because the bolts are recessed way back here. So in theory, I could take a lot of this away if I had to, which I don't think it's gonna hit. Now that I have the new steady bar up front over here, it's gonna help from keeping the motor from rocking. So I don't think it's gonna really hit. Should be all right. I'd be more worried about this bottom out on the ground. So that's like one thing I was looking at, but that's kind of where it has to be. So that might be the lowest point of the car. I won't really know until I lower it. It could be the oil pan. It's one or the other, but yeah, the two low spots, or two low points in the car. So, all right, keep going. Found another problem with my steering rack. The rack is good, it's in a good spot. Once I connected the outer tie rods on though, I had some interference issues with my subframe. So, I already made this. It's 1.5 inch pipe, notched out and welded in. Then I cut out a section right here to make clearance for the tie rod end. And now I got this little fillet. So I'll fill that, weld it in, and then I'll check clearances again. I mean, I already checked it, so it should be good. But once I weld this in, I'll just grind back smooth. It should be good. This is like one thing I did not want to do, but I reinforced it pretty good. I think it'll be all right. I don't think there should be any problems. And go from there. But yeah, this is a pain in the butt. Now I didn't show how to do it because I'm kind of in like a time crunch, so it is what it is. So I'll get this welded up and then we'll refit it. Yeah, I just hit the steering rack with a couple cans of coat. Tomorrow I'll hit it with some clear coat. I'll do it nice and shiny. And then we can fit it back to the car. I ran out of welding gas, so I gotta finish welding my notch in tomorrow. Yeah, then grind it back smooth, and then we'll figure it out from there. All right, I just got my axle back from my buddy Ron over there. He was able to mill this down for me just a bit. Actually, he just bored the inside. This is the old, the mini outer part of the axle goes in there. But he shaved this down just a bit. He bored the inside of this new axle. And that fits nice and snug. So once I get to the right length, I'm just gonna run a weld rate around it and then go from there. So it should be a nice upgrade compared to what I have over here. And go from there. Hopefully a lot stronger. Yeah, I'm looking a little bit rusty over here. I'm not gonna pretend it's my cleanest weld, but being a tight radius, I do always have issues with this. It's always a hard time for me doing these little radiuses. But I did two passes over it. I think it'll be all right. Probably used the wrong filler rod too, but I think we'll be all right. I think we're in good shape. not too bad, considering it's snowing outside, pretty cold. Yeah, I like to run this right in front of the heater, just to try and keep the clear coat from running. Because I go on heavy with my clear coat just a little bit, so it doesn't have like that dry look to it. So I put on wet, and if you do that, it can drip when it's cold out like this. So as you can see me, I'm just kind of waving the part right in front of the heater directly, just to try and keep it warm. It'll help it from dripping. The next day. Oh, these came out awesome, even though you're never gonna see them, but they're painted. Gotta say, the new axle looks 100% better. Doesn't have this ugly looking coupler in the middle. Sheesh. Came out good. Time to put it to the test. Alrighty, I just got the steering rack back in. Adjusted the tie rods, just eyeballing it. I will have to do another alignment again. This will be the third one. But I think it's good. I'm getting more turning radius out of it, so that's cool. And there's one more thing I wanted to add. Like a month or two ago, we had a crazy snowstorm, and I lost my phone in the snow. And I completely lost a whole edit I had lined up. Basically, I ditched the steering column, and I went for a motor-assisted steering column. So now I can basically turn with just my finger. There's still a bit of rigidity to it. It's not like super easy, but there's like, it's a lot easier than it was before. So I had a whole edit with that made up, how I got this in. I don't have the panels on right now, but I can kind of show you quick how this is working out. Here we go. So this is from a Nissan Versa. I got it from the junkyard. I think I paid 30 bucks for it. And it's pretty neat. Get the electric assist motor right here, and then the columns right here. It's not fully adjustable like the Volkswagen one, but it's not bad. I didn't notice it was pretty close there. But right after I extended the steering rack out, I had to redo the column again. So I did this column like 3 times already, but I didn't really film any of it. And the first time I did this, I lost all the footage. But it basically just runs off a main power. I just got it tied in with the 50 amp fuse. And yeah, there's no, ooh, I cut myself. It has its own little computer module on here, and it just works. Just plug and play, that's it, 3 wires for the whole thing. Again, I had a whole edit. This was probably a month and a half ago, and I lost the footage. But I made a whole bracket that holds it up in there. This one right there comes off the motor here. There's one on this side. I don't know if you can see it. And then there's another one right here in the back, right here. And it goes to the pedal box. Little weld there, little bendy boy, and that's it. Not that I like super needed it, but there is a lot more weight compared to a standard Mini. You know, the motor's probably a little bit heavier. I got a full subframe up front, so there is some weight up here. I think there's more weight than, you know, the stock Mini, but so it does help out with the turning. And that's just one thing. Damn, he is dusty. It has been here for a while, but mainly like the past like 2 months I've been dealing with trying to fix the torque steer, the steering column, and the steering rack, trying to get more full rotation out of the steering. So it's like 3 things that's been like hitting me hard. But now I think I'm at a point where I can just get one more alignment done, and then clean this thing up and just start driving it. Oh, and I do have some new wheels for it that I bought a while ago. I got some Alley Cat wheels, and then I made some center caps too. Some Union Jack center caps I made. I touched in with some blue. They've just been sitting here for months. And then my dumbass, I started the car one day on jack stands, and I had the boot on top of the roof, and it fell off while I was in the car, and it chipped it, which kind of sucks. But it'll give me a reason to repaint this and the bonnet. So it is what it is. There's another little scuff mark right here. I'm just glad this thing didn't crack in half into a million pieces. This is not bad. I can just put some filler on it, paint it again. I'll just paint the whole thing so it'll match. But I'm gonna wait till warmer weather. So yeah, other than that, that's pretty much what I've been up to. That, and I got me a new lathe 2 weeks ago. So I've been playing with this thing, and this thing is just fun. I wish I had this thing like 5 years ago, or even when I started the R1 build. This would have been nice to make a whole bunch of odds and ends. If you guys can find one, a lathe, I recommend getting one, because this thing is awesome. I still need to get some tooling. I'm still learning. I've only made one thing on this so far, but I love this thing. It's cool. And I got it like right down the street from the shop, so it was ideal. That's kind of what I was waiting for. Something to pop up that's local, because this thing is heavy as a motherfucker. And we used this hoist up there to get it off my buddy's truck, and we just kind of dragged it on over here. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to.